Welcome to America's home for racing. Here to the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway. Tonight we have race number 9 of the Undisputed Cup Series. Tonight we have the Undisputed Throwback 270. Tonight's Throwback night here from Charlotte. As we just wrapped up practice and qualifying, getting underway now. We'll see these drivers tackle the longest race of the season. 180 laps here from Charlotte. Just under 300 miles, but one of the longer races of the season.
Yeah, one of the longer races of the season, just like in the real-life NASCAR race, Coca-Cola 600. Pretty long race here tonight as well, and qualifying underway here momentarily.
And currently, Jason Bottoms on coming off the win last week at Richmond. He's currently on coming to start his first lap now, just coming across the line in his Throwback NOS Energy machine. That 5 machine down to the turn number 1. She's gonna run the high lane here in 1 and 2. Charlotte's definitely a weird track. Kind of like the top end 1 and 2 can be better and faster, but it also depends on the heat. So it kind of just swaps around here and there between qualifying. A lot of people running up the top lane. It can get really hot, and the bottom lane is a little bit better. So we'll see what lane these drivers choose as they go to the outside or the inside in turn 1. But we'll see what Jason Bottoms, that first lap invalidated. He's going to take the top lane on his hot lap here, but he's going to cut down to the racetrack.
Ooh, clips the apron.
That's not going to be a good line there.
Yeah,
down the back straightaway. We'll see what he can do. All he's probably just trying to get a lap in here. Don't want to be starting from the back.
Come around turn 4
important with the new dirty air updates. The Jason Bottoms across the line, 29.961. Alex Bonsier crossing the line now at 77 machine. He'll run a 29.490. That'll put him 10th. Keith Long going down the front straightaway, coming across the line, 30.825 for lap number 1. We'll see what he can do on lap number 2 here. Across the line for Keith Long, 29.832. That will put him P14. So everyone has now set their qualifying time. Just Dustin Stallings coming across the line for his final run. He's going to go through the grass. So everyone has completed their time tonight. So that means Brendan Maddox going to start on the pole for tonight's race here from Charlotte. Good lap there. I believe it'll be his first start of the season.
Yeah, pole position going to lead us to the green here. Still a minute and a half left in qualifying, but like you mentioned, everyone has set a lap, so pretty much official there. 17 car field in total, unless someone joins in these next 75 seconds. But also with the update here, first real 1.5 mile track that we're going to see here tonight in the Undisputed Cup Series with the new Dirty Air package. Last week we saw Richmond. A lot of these drivers said they didn't kind of like the package. A little different driving style and whatnot, but we'll see how it plays out here at a pretty, I think drivers mostly like Charlotte. I think Charlotte's probably a lot of these drivers' favorite track, maybe, or definitely top 10, I would say. Just a solid racetrack in the Concord, North Carolina.
Yeah, Charlotte's definitely a good racetrack. It's kind of unique in some areas as well. I mean, just kind of the way the lines, like I said earlier, the top and 1 and 2, the top lane can work depending on the heat of the racetrack. Same with the bottom. So the lines, it might look like your normal 1.5 mile track, kind of around the bottom, around the top, but Charlotte is definitely you could switch the lanes up and kind of get around, move around the outside or the bottom. So it should be very interesting tonight, and kind of see this multi-groove racing maybe start to pop up here and there. We'll start to see some drivers on the high lane try to get it out of that dirty air and try to get some cleaner up top. And they also maybe trying to see some guys on the bottom trying to save their tires a little bit. But we'll see how these drivers can combat the new updates tonight. But currently up in front, it's Brendan Maddox and Dustin Stallings. They will be on the front row for tonight. Both drivers make their first start of the season. So those two joining in and coming out to start strong here, putting it on the front row. As we'll see if they can hold that those spots up front. Track positioning is going to be important, so they're going to have that clean air. That's going to be a good advantage for those drivers as they now start to grid up. As let's take a look at our starting lineup for tonight's race here for the Undisputed Throwback 270 here from Charlotte, as Brandon Maddox able to take the pole position with a 29.047 and Dustin Stallings at a 29.056, just under a hundredth slower. We'll start P2. Kyle Schmitz in the 19 will start P number 3. Cameron Cunningham will start 4th. Kyle Klink will start 5th tonight, and starting 6th will be the 99 of Cody Pruitt. Evan Patinko will start 7th, and Derek Riley in the 17 will start 8th tonight. Starting 9th will be the 9 of Cody Dorsey. Zachary Maddox will start 10th tonight. Alex Sponsor will start 11th. Dakota Bly will start 12th in that 25 machine. 13th in the 14 car will be Scott Kerberg. Keith Long will start 14th in that 71 machine. John Ganas will start 15th tonight in the 57 car. And our last 6 winner, Richmond Jason Bottoms, will have to work his way from the rear of the field tonight in 16th in that 5 machine. And Rob Milan will round out our 17 car field tonight in that 47 machine there. 17 car field here tonight from Charlotte.
Pace car pulling off. One pace lap here, get these tires warmed up as well. But one thing to note also, longer race here, 180 laps, longest race of the season. Definitely gonna be some fuel strategy, maybe tire strategy as well. Green bar pit stops could play a factor into tonight's race. I would be pretty surprised if it doesn't. We even saw it last week at Richmond as well. But strategy gonna be very important here tonight. You gotta stay in clean air as well. Maybe short undercut, overcut could work as well. We don't really know exactly how these next gens will really work with the updated car and tire with the undercut and overcut, but you know, these drivers are gonna have to kind of just find out here during this race, really.
Yeah, and tonight 65% fuel tank like we have all season, and our normal fuel tank's around 70 laps on fuel, so these drivers are only going to be able to go around 40 to 45 laps on a tank of fuel, depending on how they're driving it. Maybe if they're shifting a little bit, that can be an option. And so just depends on if they're running the top, you're going to be burning a little bit more fuel, going a longer distance. So we'll see probably anywhere from 40 to 45 laps on a fuel tank here. So probably ideally you want to go 40, 80, 120. Possibly, but that might be a little bit too early, but we'll see how these strategies play out. Who will pit when, but we'll see how this strategy plays out and how tonight goes. 180 laps here from Charlotte. The Undisputed Throwback 270 is underway. Big wheel spin on the start for our pole sitter, Brendan Maddox, and he's checks up the inside lane a little bit, and that's going to allow the outside to clear for the lead easily is Dustin Stallings and Cameron Craighead. Now P1 and 2 is the outside lane with a good jump from that wheel spin on the bottom. Now the back straightaway entering turn number 3. Cameron Craighead will try and chase down to the back bumper of Dustin Stallings. Up the racetrack they both go side by side off of turn number 4. Craighead gonna hold on to the bottom for now, side by side. Stallings holds the outside lane. Right behind, here comes Brendan Maddox back, trying to close that gap back down after his mistake on the restart.
Yeah, the great run off of turn 4. I think those drivers in front was side drafting him. Now down the back straightaway they go. Dustin Stallings clears for the race lead.
And now Maddox going to try and take the spot back away from Cameron Craighead as Cameron Craighead, big check up through the corner. I think he actually may have got a penalty there on the restart, and he did. He's going to have to come down and serve a penalty. Big penalty for Cameron Craighead early on.
I'm not sure if it was a drop-through penalty from earlier, maybe a penalty from last week possibly, but Brendan Maddox takes back the race lead over Dustin Stallings, excuse me, there.
And Dustin Stallings sits back in second as Brendan Maddox able to recover from his wheel spin on the start. Now he takes the lead back and gets that clean air as we're still early on in this race so far. You see a lot of these drivers so far single file I see some drivers trying to use a few different lanes. Brendan Maddox staying on the outside lane, trying to stay on the outside, trying to keep everyone behind him.
Yeah, right now 4 cars under a blanket pretty much. No one really ripping the top yet. Some drivers are in the middle, but seems like they're getting really tight off of turn 4. Kyle Schmidt's in the outside wall there.
I think these drivers are going to start showing with a little bit of tightness in the race car right now, especially with the dirty air. It's going to be really tough as they kind of see it there right with Kyle Schmidt's there. Got on the back bumper, Dustin Stallings, and just plowed right up the racetrack. Dirty air being a big problem. It'll be a big factor tonight. We're trying to avoid the dirty air. If you get that clean air, you're not going to be burning up your tires as much. And Stallings able to hold the bottom as Maddox still run on the top lane, just trying to focus off the run of the corner, maybe trying to pull away a little bit.
It'll be interesting to see how much tires these guys save during this first run. Kind of in the unknowns. They had about 50 minutes of practice, but still just kind of unknowns really running this big of a pack, especially with the drivers behind in dirty air.
You see Stallings, he's just getting the inside lane wide open, getting that clean air on the nose as Maddox just kind of giving him the bottom. I think Maddox is trying to drive away, but Maddox has to be careful in the outside lane. Don't want to run too much up there. You're going to easily burn up your tires. That's how Stallings works to the inside there just a little bit. But the bottom seems to be a little bit better for Dustin Stallings on the bottom. Peter Maddox on the outside lane. He's kind of just having a longer distance, so that's also a problem as well. Was Brendan Maddox is if he runs outside a lot, he's going to be burning a little bit more fuel. And they could make it one less stop. So you want to pit every 45 laps, so try to run it dry as best you can. That'll take you 45 90, and then that'll be a 3-stop race to the finish. If you pit any earlier than that 45, you're going to be at a 4-stopper. So it's going to be very tight on a 3-stop race tonight. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, and it looks like the top 4 are getting closed down behind from a pack of 4 as well. Cody Pruitt leads that one as they're side by side for 5th place right there. Now 3 wide going to turn 1. Oh, contact! Around goes to 99. He saves it. Oh, hard on the outside wall,
Hard on the outside wall, though. Keeps it straight. He's going to keep it going, but that might destroy that right front. Yeah, and he will. He'll have to limp it back down to pit road and take his fast repair.
Early on in the race, still plenty of time, 107 laps to go, but unfortunate there for Cody Pruitt.
They're just unfortunate there, as we'll see if he can recover tonight.
Take a quick replay of that one. Just off of turn 4, got a little tight, and then 3 wide in the middle on the interior turn 1. Very close quarters and just a little contact there in the turn 1. Had it saved, but out on the outside wall there.
Yeah, that's enough to easily ruin a night there as he hit the outside wall pretty hard. Took the right front off the car. So he's going to come down pit road and take his fast repair. Just unfortunate. Still long, like you said, a long way to go here. Just have to hope for caution at some point. But he's going to have to make that extra pit stop.
Now with that little bit of contact now, it really just will allow this field to kind of spread out a little bit more. The top 5 kind of pulled away big time, but here comes Kyle Schmitz to the inside now, challenging for that race lead.
And now he goes to the bottom side by side into turn number 1 here. Schmitz going to try and pull a slider right up in front of Maddox, but not going to be able to do it. Off of turn number 2 now, down the back straightaway. But Maddox able to get a huge run as Schmitz really stalled out on the bottom. He's going to stop behind Kyle Klink. Kyle Klink, another driver, is very good at taking his tires early in the season at Legacy, Texas, but couldn't seal the deal with as fuel mileage played a factor there, and he was just not close enough to get that win. Almost got second, but Kyle Klink, watch out. Once these tires were off, he was very good at saving those tires, so we'll see how Kyle Klink can do tonight. Still side by side for second as Schmitz trying to side draft Klink back as Klink goes way up the track, almost into the outside wall. Schmitz going to try and stay on the inside of Brendan Maddox here of that 11 machine. Side by side down the front straightaway, not close enough to really pull him back. Now he's going to drive it into turn one. Got to try and pull the slider off the racetrack. Goes Schmitz. He's going to be able to do it. He's clears. Klink goes down to the bottom. I think Maddox really starting to struggle now with those tire wear.
Yeah, looks like he got really tight on exit. That allowed Klink to go to the inside. Now he clears for second now.
And Klink clears, and he'll fall into second, fall in line as Dustin Stallings thought about looking to the inside of Maddox there into turn three, but just didn't have enough of a run, enough of a moves to get down to the bottom. Back down to the one. Klink way faster to the center of the corner. He actually pulls along to the inside. It'll be side by side, down the back straightaway, dead even down to the three for the race lead.
Side by side, will we see a slider into turn three? Not quite. Gets a little tight. Has to back out of it off of turn four.
Klink got a little tight too. Schmitz got a little tight too. Almost out of the outside wall, but enough run to still clear. He'll clear down the front straightaway. As Klink goes back to the outside lane, try to just manage these runs. Don't want to lose too much time, but you see the front of the race car just take off as he gets into that 30 air behind that 19.
Yeah, this is really where the point around lap 15 to 20 will see who saved their tires the best. And we'll really see that initial tire saving pay off right now. There's one car on the outside wall, I believe. Keep it straight.
Side by side. Back for that fourth place spot is now Dustin Stallings will hold on to that spot from Evan Patinko as Patinko's trying to work his way up. So Patinko started back at 7th, so he's just kind of staying around there, now up to the top 5 and back side by side for the lead as Klink moves to the bottom. The inside of Kyle Schmitz down to the 3. Klink on the bottom, getting clear, not going to be able to do it. Schmitz still holds the outside, going to try and pull that 31 machine back.
As they're side by side, still down to turn number 1 and 2. Who's going to get the better exit off of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. As they're dead even off of 2. Schmitz still on the outside, has that momentum. Klink might have to fall back in line here. And yes, he will.
I'll fall back in line, fall behind Kyle Schmitz, but off of turn number 4. Kyle Schmitz still holds the spot. Down to the turn number 1. Everyone kind of running that above the seam there in turn number 1. You see the first driver not to run that seam is Dustin Stallings out on the bottom. So we'll see if Dustin Stallings, maybe those tires maybe a little bit better here in the longer run, the back half of this run, as he's really been the only driver on the bottom and just commit to the bottom. And now Klink back to the bottom again and here into 3, trying to pull the slider in front of Kyle Schmitz, but just can't do it.
Almost.
Maybe a little bit of contact.
He did it.
Schmitz got out of the wall, and Klink holds it takes the race lead away, but now here comes Brendan Maddox back to the bottom. He's going to try and pull the slider for second into 1 and 2.
Schmitz in the outside wall.
Way up there, racetrack. Got the wall in the center of the corner.
Yeah, hitting the wall, skipping the outside wall there in turn 1 and turn 2. Really kill his momentum. Now allow Maddox to get back up to second. Now he's going to try to get back up to the race lead after this 20 laps. He was supposed to, remember, lost the lead early on. Got it back, held on for a little bit, but kind of fell back through the pack, and now he's working his way back up through the front 4.
And now Schmitz trying to fight back on the bottom. Going to roll alongside in that turn number 2. Maddox will no doubt to get the run off on turn number 2 here. Schmitz will slot back in line. Stallings, keep an eye on that double zero machine. I think he probably has the best tires on the racetrack right now, as he's really been running the bottom, taking his time. Back on the throttle. I haven't really seen him on the top at all this entire run, so his tires should be a little bit better than these drivers been racing all night, racing out of the top lane and racing each other all run long.
Yeah, historically in the Irish tire model, the inside lane is the better tire saving line. So if that holds up true, which I don't see why it wouldn't. Stallings could be a factor here later in this longer run. As Schmitz on the outside wall.
There.
Just enough
Schmitz gets the outside wall
to lose his momentum.
Back to the bottom. Oh, Brendan Maddox, he took the race lead away. I believe Klink under the wall as well, maybe. As Maddox just really came out of nowhere and just took that lead away. As we'll see how much Klink can fight back.
As we'll take a quick replay of that one quickly. So off of turn 4 here, Klink just got very slow. I don't know if he hit the outside wall, but just very, very tight. And Maddox squeezes on by.
Yeah, he got very tight and had to get out of it pretty much, and that allowed Maddox to get by. And now here comes Stallings. He's gonna try and shut the door off exit, but not gonna be enough. Not gonna be clear. He's got to forfeit the high lane once again down to the turn number 3. But now that Stallings, you kind of start to see him come alive here. As now he's trying to work his way back up through the field. As now the front row is back on to 1-2 as we started. Kind of fell back a little bit in the middle of this run, but now Dustin Stallings now clears for second, maybe here in the 1 and 2. He's clearing that. He's gonna have to try and shut the door, get off exit. Can he do it?
No.
He will, but he's gonna pull back down.
He's clear though.
Space, but he does clear now.
Yeah, it's probably a smart move there. It's long in lap 25. Don't want to risk too much there. You only have one fast spare tonight. You don't want to use it up in the first 40 laps of this one.
And now as we complete lap 26, about 20 more laps on fuel. So these drivers to be close on that 3-stop strategy to see who can make it that far. If you can make it to 45 laps, you should be able to make it on 3 stops, and that'll be one less stop. If you go any shorter, it's gonna be a lot tougher to make it on a 3-stop race. 45 laps is gonna be the perfect cut through the center, making it on the least amount of stops. That's the back end of that fuel window, fuel expectancy. So we'll see how long if they go 43, 44, they're gonna have to go a little bit longer on another run. That's gonna be tough to do. Try to make your first runs as long as possible. Some drivers we normally see being very good at fuel saving. Tokyo Bly was one of those. He was able to do it at Legacy, Texas. Same with Cody Dorsey. These two have been very good on fuel saving, both getting wins. Off fuel saving strat, well, I believe Dakota Bly not getting a win off the fuel saving strat, but getting solid finish and finished a lot better than the way it was running, based off saving that fuel.
Yeah, and lucky win here for one of these drivers, full-time drivers. Could put him inside the playoffs. You have to, I believe, complete 11 of 13 regular season races to be a win in your end. So some of these newer drivers like Brendan Maddox would not be able to. But still, a win here would be very good for him. Obviously, it's only lap 30. We're coming to lap 30 in this one. So still, we're still in the early parts of this race. So a lot can happen 1/5 of the way through.
As Maddox sort of getting chased down now by Dustin Stallings, those two drivers have pulled away a little bit. As he ran a half a second over Kyle Glinken. Kyle Schutz has really fallen off as he's now a second and a half off the lead. Those top 4 all swapped the lead here and there, and now we're starting to see the tire wear starting to play a factor, and Dustin Stallings and Brendan Maddox able to have the best tire wear out of these drivers up front. About 10 to 15 more laps here before we see our first pit stops of the night.
As here comes Dustin Stallings to the inside now. And we've been talking about him a little earlier. He was running the ball pretty much the whole run, and he is really looking good here. 30 laps into this green flag run. It might be the driver to be on this long run.
Stallings has been good on saving those tires right now, but he's going to find his way by Brendan Maddox now. He's now trying to get that race lead, take that race lead away. And Stallings is going to go down to the bottom. He's going to get right on that white, blue and white line. Trying to slot back up behind, but just taking his time, being patient. A long way to go left in this race. You have a lot of strategy also to play as well. Could also just be using to try to save that little bit of fuel, because 45 could be a stretch. That's that back into that fuel window. See how long some of these drivers can really go tonight. Stallings during the outside lane there, but then Maddox comes up off the corner, gives it the 30 arrow. Got a little tight, almost got on the wall for Stallings. He stays up the racetrack, and it cuts back down to the bottom into 1 and 2. So Maddox defending the lead well, as now he's kind of running the bottom.
Yeah, lap traffic up ahead, gonna give him some dirty air. Lap traffic kind of in the way there. As Jason Bottoms down pit lane.
Jason Bottoms early pit stop there, so 30 laps in, knowing he might not be able to make it on 3 stops, so Jason Bottoms really early stop. He's already running towards the back of the field. I thought maybe he could try something a little different.
Could work out. I
See
mean,
how well that works out for that 5 machine, as Jason Bottoms was able to win last week. And not a good qualifying tonight, and he's just stuck in the back.
yeah, tire wear has been about 1 second fall off compared to their fastest lap time, so not the biggest fall off, but definitely noticeable. But I would probably expect a little bit more smoke on pit lane. Not sure if someone spun out going in the pit lane. Let's Cody Pruitt down pit lane.
Oh, damage again. I wonder if Cody Pruitt might have crashed, hit the wall really bad, but now these leaders pass Jason Bottoms. Now Brendan Maddox able to pull away by a few tenths. It's now he's got to get through the dirty air and lap traffic of Cameron Craighead. He's side by side, but now Dustin Stallings has 2 lap cars. He wasn't able to cycle in front of Jason Bottoms now.
As they're racing our race leaders pretty hard.
As Bottoms on the fresh tires trying to work his way through. He's working the inside lane for now. The side by side into turn number 3. As Cameron Craighead tries to fight back for get back on lead lap. Here comes Dustin Stallings back on the bottom.
As they both navigate through the lap traffic. Obviously, Bottoms with the fresher tires gonna get by them pretty easily, and gonna give Maddox some good air for a little bit, but not too long, I don't believe. Probably the next lap or so.
Dustin Stallings now gets to the inside of Brendan Maddox, side by side off turn 4. Had a really good run through the center of 3 and 4. And he's actually carrying that momentum. Brendan Maddox, I think, just got a lot really tight. Now he pulls alongside, side by side into turn number 1. As Kyle Clint comes down pit road pretty early here on lap number 39. So these drivers gonna have to make a 4th stop. So it's gonna be a 4-stop race is what it's looking like. We'll see if anyone can stretch it to lap 45 maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
He had to do a drive-through.
As here comes Dustin Stallings down pit lane.
Stallings comes down pit road. But that might not be the worst thing to happen for Cameron Craighead. He did get that drive-through. Could save a little bit of fuel, but he stays, as long as he doesn't lose another half a lap on time throughout the race, he might be able to cut that stop. So we'll have to see about Cameron Craighead. But Dustin Stallings comes down pit road lap number 40. We'll see where Brendan Maddox will need to come down pit road. Kyle Schmitz comes down pit road. Alex Bonsignor as well.
Looks like everyone's coming down pit lane.
Here comes Brendan Maddox. Evan Patinko believes staying out of the racetrack. There he is off turn 4. Yes, he will. So Evan Patinko will cycle to the race lead. We'll see if anyone can stretch it about 5 more laps. Don't think these drivers might be able to stretch it, as the field, more of the majority of the field is already pitted. Cody Dorsey down pit road, Derek Riley. Zachary Maddox. A lot of these drivers really coming out early. And here comes Evan Patinko, Keith Long, Dakota Bly. Keith Long has been a driver so far this season to really take that overcut. So we'll see. He's probably going to go as long as he can. See if Keith Long can do it. He's going to go 3 more laps. Try and make it to at least lap 45, at least lap 44. Well, Kyle Klink, now he just set the fastest lap. He came up behind Dustin Stallings. Is now they're actually about to unlap themselves of Keith Long. Keith Long still staying out on the racetrack for now.
Yeah, even another lap. That could be interesting there. He's getting to the point where he can maybe do a 3-stop race. Obviously, this thing has to go green the whole way.
As well. Dakota Bly, he's been a driver to be not afraid to try fuel mileage out. So also keep an eye on Dakota Bly. He was a little far back though, so he can't really save too long as Keith Long, he wasn't terribly far back either, I don't think, but Dakota Bly really far back compared to Keith Long. So they gotta try and stay within a lap and a half before that final pit stop. But Keith Long still staying out of the racetrack. We'll see if he can stretch it one more lap. It's Dakota Bly now down pit road, so Dakota Bly could not make it. Keith Long, can he make it one more lap? I think he's going to slow it down now. Yes, he will. So Keith Long going to come down pit road on lap 44. A really conservative pit entry. Should take it easy. So
I think
Keith Long.
He broke way too early. I think he thought the yellow line was the yellow cone. Here in our race, the yellow cone's a little further back, which is when the pit speed limit starts. But anyways, still, he made it all the way to 44, coming out 45, so he has a chance. As right now, our race leader will be Dustin Stallings, but right behind him, Kyle Klink right there.
And so Brendan Max, not a good pit stop. I think kind of did the same thing as Keith Long. Maybe just not being aggressive as the other drivers on the pit road, and losing a little bit of time off pit entry and exit as Brendan Max really far behind compared to these race leaders right now. As Dustin Stallings holds the lead. We'll have to keep an eye on Keith Long, Dakota Bly. They did go pretty far. They did go a couple laps longer than the rest of the field. We'll see if they can save that a little bit extra fuel. Maybe make it a one last stop compared to the field.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Ooh, one car on the outside wall there in the front. Not sure that was, but guy would come out of pit lane. I think that is Keith Long there. But anyways, right now the race lead pretty close, within 2/10. Dustin Stallings, he's pitted 1 lap later than Kyle Klink, so he has 1 lap fresher tires. Maddox has 2 lap fresher tires, which is probably why he's a little further back. He pitted the latest out of those two, so see if he can gain that 2 seconds back on those top 2 drivers. But right now, it's looking like it's a 2-horse race here coming lap 48.
Dustin Stallings holding the lead right now, but Kyle Klink trying to fight his way back to the race lead, trying to get the race lead once again. So he gets that cleaner on the outside lane though. Maybe might be side by side off the corner exit. Not gonna be enough as Stallings shuts the door off the corner, but now Klink with a big run. Goes down to the bottom. Gonna be side by side as Klink goes down to the 3. He's gonna clear Dustin Stallings the race lead.
As can he pull away now? We haven't really seen driver pull away to probably more than a half a second, maybe 6/10 really, from second place. Can Kyle Klink maybe do that here early in this second run?
Kyle Klink, really fast driver. Once those tires wear off, we saw that Legacy Texas. He was much better on saving those tires. So we'll see how Kyle Klink, how he can do tonight. He's now got the race lead. Now he's pulling away by a couple tenths of a second over Dustin Stallings.
Is Cameron Craighead in 11th from his drive-through. Currently the first car lap down, lucky dog position. In cars only lap so far here tonight. We've been green all for the first 50 laps of this one. But will we stay like that? We've had a few incidents here and there, but nothing too crazy. Cody Pruitt hit the outside wall into turn 1 and turn 2. But other than that, I think we've been pretty clean. No penalties on pit lane on that first pit stop. So everyone's been pretty good so far here tonight.
And this field's really spread out now as you see a lot of different strategies have played out. The different drivers have been pushing or taking pit road a little bit conservative, and that really spread out the field. This Kyle Klink is now putting about 3-4 tenths over Dustin Stallings, but now Dustin Stallings crawling that back. Tries to look to the bottom in a 1 and 2 here.
Brendan Maddox right now closing the gap on these top two drivers. Gap down to about 2 seconds to the race leader. Was around 2.3, 2.4 a few laps ago. So slowly but surely, he's closing in on these top two.
Yeah, Maddox just not. I don't think he just had a great pit stop. Just didn't push pit entry like the other drivers did. Was a little bit slower down pit road. So he's trying to close that gap back down now. It's about 2 seconds back. So it did go about a lap longer. There should have been too much of a difference, but right now, Maddox trying to close the gap back down. Currently now just under 2 seconds, so the gap's slowly coming down. It's about maybe a half a tenth to 3/4 of a tenth faster than our race leader right now of Kyle Klink.
Klink's doing a good job right now, just kind of staying in the race lead, not really giving it up. Even in front with that clean air over Dustin Stallings. Right now, this is the closest battle on the racetrack as well.
Yeah, closest battle on the racetrack for the race lead. As Brendan Maddox takes another about a half a tenth out of the race lead there. It's down to about 1.9 seconds. So if these two get the battling a little bit, maybe
A little shift in there.
slow them up.
So it's probably why they couldn't really save so much fuel, because I mean, you do shift here at Charlotte, but maybe if you don't shift, you can maybe save a lap or two possibly, and probably why some drivers further on back were able to go a little bit further than our race leaders.
Yeah, if you don't shift, you can save a lot more fuel, but it can get a little bit slower, as maybe it might hurt that run up a little bit on your runs off the exit. That can slow you down a little bit, maybe a little bit slower, but if you can save that extra fuel, as long as you don't lose a lap and a half, you're gonna stay, because that's what you lose about after about four tires and a full tank of fuel on pit road. So we'll see how that works out.
Stallings got on the outside wall there for 4, lost some momentum, and Maddox continues to close the gap down about half a tenth that time too. So he's just slowly but surely, like I mentioned, closing that gap down to our top two drivers, and sooner or later this could be a 3-car battle for this race lead. They're already about 20 laps into this tire run here, and fuel run.
The race leader's gonna probably are just about halfway through the run. As we'll see in about next time by or so, they'll be halfway through this run. And then turn number 1, Kyle Klink holds the race lead. Maybe gets to the wall just a little bit.
Those sparks there.
Almost gets into it, but down the back straightaway. Instead of 3, we'll see how Stallings, he's going to try and look to the bottom. But keep in mind, though, it's not too far ahead is Dakota Bly. So Dakota Bly was one of those drivers that were able to go, I think he was able to go about 43 laps. He can save a little bit more fuel, but he's going to be close on that kind of time there. Don't lose too much time.
Yeah, 1 lap is okay, but any more than probably a lap and a half is pretty much irrelevant. A guy worked with lap traffic, Jason Bottoms right there, last week's winner at Richmond, as he's going to go to the inside. He was one of the drivers that probably pitted the earliest, about 4 laps earlier than our race leaders, Kyle Klink in the outside wall. Same with Stallings, maybe a little bit off the turn too.
Click up to the wall again in 3 and 4, and now that's going to allow Stallings to the inside here off turn number 4. Side by side, down the front straight for the race lead now. As Stallings trying to crawl that time back, going to get back to the inside. This battle is going to help Brendan Maddox close that gap in for from 3rd, so we'll see how much they can battle.
Slider.
Stallings.
No, he's got to stay
Stallings
bottom.
Clear for now.
He was clear.
They didn't want to shut the door on him too early into the race, but Klink on the outside lane. Almost gets to the wall
Wow.
again. Klink really starting to struggle in that top lane, and Dustin Stallings clear for the lead down to the one.
And both are on the top side, lap car on the bottom. For the Bly right there. As Klink, I was so surprised he did not hit the outside wall in 3 and 4. He was really ripping that top side inches off that outside wall. As he's really liking the outside later here later in this run. So got about 12 to 15 laps on this tires and fuel set. Your run, excuse me.
And they pass Dakota Bly there, so Dakota Bly can't lose any more than half a lap now in the rest of this race if he wants to try and hold on and make it on one last stop. But also, Dakota Bly not saving fuel, but it also is going to be a little bit tougher to save fuel. Is really can't is currently right now bug in the sim that you can't turn off the engine, so the engine only turns off under pace speed. It's a really weird bug. Don't know why, but that's going to be a little bit harder to fuel save there as well. Can't really turn off the engine. You still can clutch the engine, but it's not as great as turning it off. Turning off is typically a little bit better. As soon as you turn it off, it drops down to 300 RPM. If you clutch, it takes a few seconds to get down and to 2,000, so it's a little bit slower, a little bit worse at fuel saving, but could hold them off.
Ooh,
Right now.
Klink get loose up before there. But Stallings looking good
Klink
later
is
late.
really struggling.
And
Klink is
Maddox,
really struggling getting tight, and I think he's starting to push loose as well off the corners.
yeah, Maddox has fallen off the pace as well. Gap 2.3, 2.4 seconds. Now 2.5. I think he's really struggling with these tires. They've been pushing a little bit too much.
Max trying to get by Dakota Bly now, but Dustin Stallings able to pull away a little bit. But also, what's not going to help these drivers as well is that it's getting nighttime. The track's going to start getting faster, so it's getting a lot harder to save that little bit extra fuel. So I don't think anyone will be able to make it on a 3-stop race, but we could see how it works out. Right now, Keith Long, he was the closest, and right now he's about 23 seconds out of the race lead, which is still plenty of time. He can still give up about another 15, 20 seconds or so. But right now, Kyle Klink get a really loose off turn number 4 is a big wiggle off 4, and he's really starting to lose a lot of time now.
And he's starting to pull away a little bit here. We saw early in the first run, Stallings was really good late in the run. Jason Bottom's down pit lane once again. He actually had a black flag. And he's going to go a couple laps down. I think stop and go possibly.
Yeah, probably stop and go, but also it's around what time he pitted. He pitted around lap 33, so on that first run. So it's pretty scheduled stop. Around that scheduled stop time for Jason Bottoms.
Looks like he still has a black flag. Not sure. We'll clear. Yes, there it is. So
cleared for him. So this is Dustin Stallings right now, still holding the race lead, about half a second over Brandon Maddox. So far, Dustin Stallings able to hold about a half a second over Kyle Klink.
and Jason Bottom's once again down pit lane once more into his stall. Just unfortunate for him. His race kind of unraveling. Not a great qualifying effort. Just having that penalty and a few mistakes there. And he's now down dead last in 17th place.
Yeah, now he's really starting to struggle. And he's, after that win at Richmond last week, not a great race. Not a great race to come off a win. But luckily, he's already locked into the playoffs after that win last week at Richmond, so he's trying to get a little bit of extra playoff points.
Yeah, never a bad thing to get extra playoff points. You never know what can happen in the playoffs. In 3 races, a lot can happen. But still coming up on our pit stop here, probably around 7 laps or so. We'll see some drivers coming pit lane, probably even sooner actually than that.
We'll see. Maybe we'll keep an eye on Keith Long here. If he can make it to lap 90, that's going to be his best bet at making it on a 3-stop strategy. I don't think he'll be able to make it that far. We'll see if he can make it to anywhere. If he can't, if he pits anywhere earlier than lap 88, I would think that 3 stops pretty much out of the question. Not going to be able to make it, as everyone's going to have to make a 4-stop race.
As right now, Stallings really pulling away from Klink right now. Max is falling off a cliff as here he comes up pit lane. Goes short pit this time.
Max coming out really early.
Last time he tried to do overcut, now he's doing the undercut on these drivers ahead of him.
Yeah, Brendan Maddox looked pretty good on pit road there. Not very aggressive, but also not very conservative.
Just a solid pit road entry there.
Yeah, good pit road entry there. Really early undercut though. I think these drivers really starting to struggle. Kyle Klink has been very tight on the outside of the racetrack right now. He's just really struggling to grip that right front.
As well.
Really starting to plow. And he'll come down pit road. So very early stop. I think that they realized that 3 stops really not going to be in the question. Now they're going to start the pit earlier, maybe kind of pivot. It's about every 30 lap stints.
I think the undercut is also a better, just looks like it works better there as well. Even if it's a lap or 2 under, that's probably the sweet spot right there. We'll see what they will cycle out. Yeah, Stallings looking to try to do an overcut. Interesting strategy. He was one of the drivers that he was kind of in the middle there. Wasn't really an undercut or overcut, just kind of right in the middle compared to everyone else. So I mean, looks like right now he's going to do the overcut compared to everyone else.
And we have a caution out of the racetrack, and that's going to throw a wrench into every strategy. As that's going to help Dustin Stallings, as that's going to trap Brendan Maddox a lap down. And Kyle Klink maybe is no Kyle Klink actually off pit road.
Klink is a lap down.
We'll get trapped a lap down.
So only 4 drivers on the lead lap. Not sure what brought the caution there. I'll have to take a look.
Wonder if it's a pit exit. That's really a tough pit exit to get right. That's probably what happened.
So we can see it from the blimp camera there, big time.
Don't know what that caution was for. Yeah, it was. No, it was Kyle Klink coming off pit exit. Kyle Klink just coming off pit exit, hit the bump on pit exit, really upset the race car, just spinning around. As that's what caused that caution there.
Oh, just wow. Just revved it up, I guess. I mean, that was very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bump down there that really upsets the race car. It's really bad, especially with this next gen car.
But anyways, Gyra's down pit lane. That really turns this race on its head.
And it does. That's going to shake up a lot of strategies. And now Kyle Klink, don't think he'll be able to get the wave around because now he is the cause of the caution, so he'll have to take a penalty.
Yeah, everyone taking 4 tires as well on pit lane, not surprising there. Could see a 2-tire strategy maybe in the last pit stop, but I won't expect a 2-tire strategy right now. This pretty much a little bit before halfway in this race. As we still got 100 laps to go pretty much.
Still just, we're going to restart. It's about 100 laps to go here. So going to be a long while left in this race. We're going to see at least a 2-stop strategy. So at least see 2 pit stops in this final run. The other drivers that helps is Keith Long and Dakota Bly. They weren't running high up in the running order. They're trying to go a little bit longer and trying to cut that stop out, but now this caution is going to help them, as that's going to put them, that's going to launch those drivers up into the top 5. Continue with Alex Bonsignor. Dustin Stallings, a good strategy call to stay out late there. Is now he's going to have the race lead. Been one of the fastest cars on the racetrack, and the other drivers have been able to challenge him. Brendan Maddox and Kyle Klink could be stuck, trapped the lap down. As actually Kyle Schmitz. Well, Kyle Schmitz, Brendan Maddox, they'll take the wave around, but Kyle Klink will be stuck a lap down, sitting back in 9th. So Kyle Klink, really unfortunate there.
Yeah, I mean, that's just unfortunate for him. Wrecking there, spinning out. He was looking for he was in 2nd place before he pitted. He was looking for a good run here tonight. Just unfortunately made an error, made a mistake, and that's going to cost him dearly here. It's only... Oh, wrecking in the back there! Under caution. One car on the outside wall. That is the... 17...
It's Ron Malam, the 47.
As he's, I think, catching up, just hit the... Oh, hit a bump. And... Ooh. That's a pretty hard leg to the outside wall.
Shot right on him there. Doesn't look too bad, but he just got his lap back, I believe. Actually, no, he got one of his laps back for the pace car. They take the hard left turn onto pit road. Dustin Stallings, end of a leads them back to green. Green flag back in the air for Charlotte. We have 100 laps to go.
Ooh, the mayhem in the back there and the restart, but they keep it clean as only 7 cars on the lead lap right now. So this really turns this race
really
upside down.
Messing up the running order, really shaking up the running order there.
And probably a majority of the drivers want a caution here quickly, as like I mentioned, pretty much almost more than half the field is a lap down. And only 1 lap down, so from 8th to 14th is 1 lap down, so they get a caution. At least one of them can get the laps back. As 3 wide action here. Oh, some contact!
Up the track, Brendan Maddox going around off of turn number 2.
Our pole sitter.
And that's going to bring out our 2nd caution of the night. He holds on to it, able to keep it together. He's luckily, he was one of those drivers on the lead lap, but unfortunately, he's going to be involved in this caution. It's going to send it to the back.
I believe that was net code. I believe. It didn't look like they made actual contact. Yeah, no actual contact was made.
Yeah, a little bit of net code there.
Just enough. Just enough. That's all it takes right there. So we go on board here. Yeah, it looks like he made contact, but obviously there's some air. There's a little bit of air in between them.
Yeah, fortunately for Brendan Maddox, I mean, he'll be able to line back up in that position as well. So yeah, I mean, he really won't lose any spots there. He'll only line back up to 7. But he will lose a tire set, which he's only going to have about 3 left if he takes one now, which will still just be fine. It'll still be a 2-stop to the finish. Also, if he stays out now, but Evan Patinko coming down pit road along with Keith Long, so he'll actually, if he will be start probably in the top 5 if he stays out. But no one going to be getting a penalty there, as that was obviously net code between those drivers. Fortunate incident there.
Yeah, as the majority of the drivers come down pit lane, topping off on fuel. This is actually right around the point. They can't exactly make it, but if someone really wants a hard save, it still looks pretty much impossible though. Because you have to go probably around 48 laps, give or take. To make it on a one stop. So it's pretty much a two-stop race here on out, with 97 laps to go.
And it could be a pretty easy two-stop, but if they can stretch this, if we get another caution, maybe about 5 more laps, it is going to be close for that on that one-stop strategy. So you could see if we get a caution around lap 88 to 90, that could be a very close on a one-stop strategy. We could see someone try and pull that strategy there. So maybe save a little bit of fuel, but still a long way to go. Still just over halfway left, as Dustin Stallings will take the outside on this restart. So we're gonna restart here with just we're gonna restart here with just 95 to go, just under 100 to go here.
Yeah, right now it was looking like this race pretty much, like I mentioned pretty multiple times, it's completely flipped over itself right now. I mean, we had a 77, 78 lap green flag run there. You know, we just had back-to-back cautions here about the midpoint in this one. So, I mean, still got half the race left. I mean, half the field lap down. It's kind of just, it's a very different outlook than we were thinking about before that first caution came out. And a lot of different drivers as well. A lot of new front runners up here in the top 5.
Restart here with just over 90 to go, just before halfway. But the pace car going to take that hard left turn on the pit road, and Dustin Stallings is going to lead them back to green as they hit the Geico restart zone. Green flag back in the air here from Charlotte as Alex Valenzuela decent restart again. Is he'll slot in line for second here, but a much better restart compared to his last one. But Evan Patinko slots in line for third, but the top 4 able to single file out pretty quickly. But Dustin Stallings able to pull away. But Schmidt's now under attack from Keith Long on the outside lane.
As they're side by side here, this is pretty much where the lap down cars are, fighting for the luck dog position. Racing pretty aggressively here for around 10th place. Cameron Craighead looking 3 wide middle, possibly no, he stays behind for now. That's Kyle Klink right there in 9th. He's currently in the lucky dog position. Had some dirty air right there from Keith Long, as here comes Kyle Schmidt to the inside. Big blocks there, but Schmidt gonna look to the second. Not quite now, as he will clear off 4.
Clear off 4.
Oh, back in the back. Cameron Craighead around. Keith Long around as well through the grass.
Cameron Craighead and Keith Long around through the grass. They're gonna keep it going. They stay green. As Alex Valenzuela fights on the bottom for on the inside of Kyle Schmitz.
As they're on the wall.
As Dustin Stallings to the outside wall in turn number 2. That's going to be side-by-side lead now. Calamity happening throughout the field. As there was 3 wide towards the back there as Kyle Schmitz Kyle Klink tries to get his lap back the hard way. He fights up back to 4th in line. Side-by-side again. And Keith Long on the racetrack. And that brings up the caution.
I think he just sat there waiting for the caution to come out, but he's still going to be a lap. Actually, no, he's not a lap down. No, he is a lap down now. Timing scoring right there. I think he just sat on the racetrack waiting for the caution to come out after it spun out. So
yeah, he pulled it back onto the racetrack to trigger that caution. So I wonder if any extra penalties will come with that, as he just stopped it on the track, brings up the caution, and gets out of the way. So don't know, but he'll definitely get a penalty for that one as being the cause of the caution.
Yeah, hit the outside wall, and yeah, got right in the Cameron Craighead as well.
Yeah, Craighead had nowhere to go. He went through the grass, able to get back going. He's still gonna be 1 lap down, as Cameron Craighead will have to still fight to get his lap back. But Kyle Klink will be back on lead lap after that one, as he will get the free pass. But now that caution is going to make this interesting. Who will come down pit road? Is now this is going to make it possibly going to make it one stoppable. Currently, it looks like no one coming down pit road. So while we have the moment, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back here from Charlotte. Well, back here to Charlotte as we just saw our third precaution of the night, as we saw Keith Long stopping on the racetrack, bringing out that caution. They got on the wall and had contact with Cameron Craighead. But now, side by side, doubled back up for the restart as we just passed halfway. 90 down, 90 to go. Just going to start across the line, complete lap number 91. Face cars off for a green flag. Back there, Kyle Schmitz, Alex Sponsor. Oh, but Alex Sponsor hardly outside wall off the start. That's going to instantly bring another caution. Sponsor, I believe maybe a little wheel spin there, and quickly brings out the caution. And Alex Sponsor, I think, made a little bit of wheel spin, and he did. No help from behind, and Alex Sponsor hard on the outside wall. Collection field as Cody Pruitt. Keith Long getting involved there as well, as Keith Long was just in that last one, and now he's in another caution again. Unfortunate there. Brings out another caution, as now these drivers, now it's going to be a one-stop strategy to the end, so wouldn't be surprised. All these drivers should come down pit road here. It should make it a pretty easy one-stop right now. Kyle Schmitz going to be our race leader. Still, Evan Pentingo will line back up to second. Another driver that helps is Kyle Klink, as now he can catch back up to the field. He'll come down and take tires after he just got his lap back, a caution to go.
Yeah, I mean, right now, cautions looks like it's bringing cautions these past few laps. About 3 cautions in 14 laps as Pentingo come down pit lane right now. As we went 77 laps green, but 3 cautions here late, round halfway. And this is definitely the fuel window. Could be open here for a one-stop race. Like we kind of mentioned before, I think it's definitely a possibility for a lot of these drivers to maybe do a one-stop if we go green the rest of the way.
it's gonna be right around that that one-stop strategy. But so to cannibalize Zach, Banix, Alex Ponce, all these other drivers going down pit road, they only make it a one-stop strategy. Just some of these drivers one lap down. If we do go green to the end, and these drivers up front, they can't make it to the finish. That might allow those drivers to get their lap back. So they'll make one last pit stop, but we'll see how that works out. I mean, but right now, cautions, breeding cautions. And if we get too many cautions here in a string, could come down to a maybe a time limit, as we do only have a 2-hour, 5-minute time limits as the race starts at 8:55 in the Eastern. And they always try to end. They always have a time limit at 11 p.m. Eastern, and that's when they end. So if we get too many yellows, if we at the base. Just going green all the way, the minimum amount of time it would be anyways was about 90 minutes. So they have about 30 minutes of caution to be used. 30 minutes of extra time to be used.
Yeah, we have about...
Right now we're about an hour in, so we still got about just over an hour left to complete this race.
Yeah, according
still
to...
plenty of time.
Yeah, if we go green the rest of the way, it'll be about 45 minutes. If we do go green the rest of the way, so this could be a time race. I mean, 15-minute buffer pretty much there, so give or take. As
if we keep it at this rate, it could come down closer. Can get pretty close if we keep getting cautions here. As really after that long green flag run, cautions is kind of been bringing cautions right now. Some of these drivers just fighting for a little bit of track position. So these drivers really just having issues on the restart. Just wheel spin being a very big problem.
As we'll see, wheel spin is a problem here. As most of these wrecks have kind of just been nothing too crazy. I think that was the biggest wreck we've seen all night long. But on the restarts, gotta make up as many positions as you can when you're bunched up together. I think that's kind of what's bringing these cautions, letting these cautions come out. Just these drivers getting bunched up, trying to make as many positions as they can. But pace car is off, and into the Geico restart zone we go. And green flag is in the air. Smith with a great initial launch as the rest of the field gets through cleanly down to turn number 1.
Kyle Schmitz clears for the lead, but side by side for second right now. As Brendan Max works his way back up to second after that unfortunate pit stop, an unfortunate caution tracked him a lap down. I tracked him right into the tail end lead lap and had his caution that sent him to the back, but now he's back up to second. If we get back up to second, so now he's going to try and chase down Kyle Schmitz. These top four right now, the strongest four all night long. So these four are going to be battling out once again through this home run. Oh, but Cameron Craig goes around to turn number 1. As I believe he may have saved that. And he did. No, but he goes back up to the outside wall. And that brings up another caution. Cameron Craig had a little bit of contact going into turn number 1. Didn't check who it was, but it was just off the screen. But Cameron Craighead goes around at the turn number 1. Off the bumper. Let's take a look. So side by side here. Right behind Alex Bonsior gets tagged. I believe that's Evan Patinko.
Had save. I guess he just didn't want to spin out into those drivers. Then hard look to the outside wall. He already used his fast spare though. So he's not going to be out, but he's definitely going to be probably severely damaged most likely.
Yeah, I think that's just kind of what happened there. Patinko expected them to kind of keep going up and tracking out to the wall, but Craig had just kind of stopped tracking out towards the wall, about a half a lane off the wall. They just a racing incident there is what it seemed like. They both made contact going to the entry of the corner, and Cameron Haggett goes around there.
Yeah, some drivers coming down pit lane once more. pretty much the whole field knowing that it's going to be a one-stop race here because we're past halfway and it's 83 to go. So it is a one-stop race once we go back green pretty much. Split it into 40 and 40.
Yeah, so it's going to be a pretty easy stop, pretty easy strategy here. I mean, you could just try and stretch it a few laps longer, but you're really not going to go any longer than 43 laps. That's pretty much going to be the max fuel they have here, so it could be an easy one-stop race from here on out.
As you can hear, Schmidt's turning off the engine coming off from pit lane.
Should try to turn off the engine, but probably not turning off. I think it was under 75 miles per hour is when they actually turn off. Or under, at least it was at Pocono. I believe it's pace speed, so a little buggy with the next gen and how the engine turns off. They're trying to save a little bit of fuel. Don't want to make it. Try to save that little bit extra fuel, knowing it's gonna be kind of close on fuel here, but we're gonna restart here with just under 80 to go. Restart here with 80 laps to go this time by, as the leader now will go to Evan Patinko. So he stayed out there under that caution. Still have a hour left in the time here. So still gonna be probably about 15-20 minute buffer still.
Yeah, 80 laps to go once we go back green, so two-stop race, 40 laps, or one-stop race, excuse me, 40 and 40 would be about halfway. Could see some drivers maybe go 35, 45. I mean, it's kind of it's not really possible from what we've seen, so it's really just one strategy. Get around lap 40, I mean, that's all you can really go. You can't really do anything crazy different, because if you pit too early, then you have to pit again later in the race. That is if we go green the rest of the way, though. And we have not been able to since that lap 78 caution.
We'll see how this works out, but green flag back there, a little bit of wheel spin again, but to keep it straight and keep it going is Evan Patinko with a good jump, able to clear for the lead, but side by side back for third is now Klink able to hold on to that spot as Cody Dorsey now in that 9 machine on the outside lane. Trying to work his way up, but so far everyone's clean. So far as the first driver side by side is Brendan Maddox and Cody Dorsey back for about that fifth, sixth place position. It's Cody Dorsey in the outside lane, trying to get the run off the corner, but not going to be able to do enough. Maddox still holds the bottom, and Brendan Maddox able to clear for that position. A single file out through the field for now.
Yeah, now 11 drivers back on the lead lap here. A few drivers still shuffling their way through, trying to get that lucky dog position. Currently, Cameron Craighead leads that lucky dog spot. He is in the lucky dog position. Been involved in 2 wrecks so far here tonight. Had a drive through earlier as well. So not a good night for Cameron Craighead, but he still has 78 laps to go to maybe do something here and maybe salvage this race.
Right now, Evan Patinko able to hold about a few car length lead over Kyle Schmidt, but Kyle Klink gonna try and close the gap down, try to work back to the back bumper of Kyle Schmitz down in the turn number 3 and 4 here. As Klink up the racetrack, gonna pull alongside, gonna get side by side with Kyle Schmitz.
Watch over
down
Maddox.
the front straightaway. There goes Brendan Maddox, trying to close that gap in now as well as Schmitz up the racetrack just a little bit. Klink gonna clear off a 2, so Kyle Klink goes to second. As here comes Maddox, he's gonna go run down the back straightaway into 3. It's out. Kyle Klink still in the second, but Kyle Schmitz are now under attack for that 3rd place spot. And Brendan Maddox pulls up to 3rd, and now they're gonna try and chase down that race lead of Patinko.
As 3, Klink and Maddox, they've been right up front pretty much all night long. Dustin Stallings a little further back in 6th place. Probably the best driver on the long run. We'll see what he can do here. There's only 6 laps into this green flag run so far. Klink with a good run off of turn 4. Can he take advantage of that one? Patinko still stays in front for now. The gap down under a 10th. As to the outside goes Klink. Good run off of turn 2, possibly coming down the back straightaway. There he goes, momentum. Will he take the inside line? No, he stays up top. Will Patinko let him have it? No. Patinko runs up the top side, gives him some dirty air, and he stays out in front so far off of turn 4.
Kyle Klink, we'll see how hard he fights for this, as he struggled in that 2nd run, as he ran the top a lot. He really struggled in that 2nd run, so he doesn't want to burn off his tires like he did earlier in this race. Now he fights back to the bottom, going to stay alongside, side by side for lead now off at turn number 2. Klink up the racetrack, lose the front nose a little bit. He's going to fall back behind and slot back in line behind Patinko as they head into 3. Patinko still holds the top lane and giving that dirty air to that 31 of Kyle Klink.
The top 5 have really pulled away from the rest of the field right now. And with 73 laps to go now, it's shaping up to be a top 5 battle here, coming up to the pit stops here in about 30 laps or so. Still a long ways out though.
I still have a 1-stop race here to the finish. There's still 1 green flag stop to do for these drivers. So right now, Patinko still holding the lead. Kyle Klink trying to chase him back down, but now he might be under attack here from Brendan Maddox. So far, so good into turn number 3. And Patinko still holds the lead. Klink and Maddox pretty much about an even gap behind.
Klink around the bottom. I think Patinko kind of just ran the top side. He's gonna burn up his tires. We saw it. He's in the outside wall. Off of turn 4. Here comes Klink down to the bottom for the race lead. As they're side by side in turn 1, Klink sending it to the bottom. He's gonna clear out in front.
Now Kyle Klink back to the race lead now, down the back straightaway. Patinko's got a good run. He's going to try and close the gap back in, but not going to have enough to get down to the bottom into 3. Not going to do it as Brendan Maddox now works to the outside lane, side by side for a second now. As Maddox with a good run. It's not going to be able to clear as Patinko going to try to slide draft him back, but Brendan Maddox clears for second.
As now it's Klink and Maddox out in front. Those two have been out front most of tonight. But Dustin Stallings way further back, 3 seconds back. Lee's looking to probably be one of the front runners here late in this race, but 6th place right now, 4 seconds back from our race leaders. Looking to struggle here with 68 laps to go.
So far, looking good for Kyle Klink, able to pull away by a couple, as and Brendan Maddox able to pull away by a couple car lengths over Evan Pasenko, as Evan Pasenko falling back a little bit now, back to about half a second. Kyle Smith's also starting to lose touch, but he's got Cody Dorsey now trying to close that gap in. There's still a few car lengths back as well, but Brendan Maddox closing the gap in, trying to fight back for the race lead. These two have been the fastest cars easily all night long. Dustin Stallings, he's really struggling in this run as he's back in 6th, 4 seconds off the lead right now. But Kyle Klink up the racetrack a little bit. We'll see how well he saved these tires. Last run he struggled with the tire wear and really built tight at the very last 10 laps or so, 15 laps of that run. We'll see if Kyle Klink, if he can hold it together this run with those tires. But now Maddox back to the bottom, side by side for lead, down to the turn number 1. Maddox gonna shut the door on entry. He got the move done before he even got to turn 1. Brendan Maddox now new race leader once again. It was 65 to go. Maddox gonna try to pull away from Kyle Klink. Klink should have fight back as hard as he can down the back straightaway into 3. He goes up the racetrack a little bit, gonna try and get that clean air, but now he's starting to fall back a little bit. You have Evan Patenko not too far behind. These top 3 still staying close together.
Yeah, right now it's looking like a 3-car battle. It was a 5-car battle earlier on, but if Mitch and Dorsey had kind of fallen back a little bit. And now here comes Klink once again. You got a challenge for the race lead as Max pole sitter out in front here in lap 117 and 64 to go. Side by side for the race lead in turn 3 and 4.
And Klink gonna get a good run. He's gonna shut the door off exit, and now Klink back to the race lead as Maddox gonna try and fight back again. Tries to fight back onto that back bumper of Kyle Klink as he loses a little bit of time off the exit. Runs back up to the high lane, gonna be right behind him though with that dirty air. These two just kind of keep swapping the lead. Evan Pazenko right there, not able to mount a big attack yet. Mounts a big enough run to make a big move for the lead, but Evan Pazenko just right there behind. Pit stops about 22-ish laps. 22 laps, so you can see some of these drivers maybe play a little bit of strategy. It's going to be a very small window, probably only about a 6-lap window for everyone to come down pit road. So won't see a big window, but it could work out. Maybe we could see Evan Patenko try something like that. Try and jump these top 2 right now. Klink holds the spot. Brendan Maddox.
As we're halfway through this fuel window and tire window as well. As we'll see who saved the tires the best here. It looks like Klink and Maddox looking like the front 2 right now that have saved their tires the best. They don't count out Dustin Stallings as he's only 4 seconds back. He's closed the gap just a little bit on the race leaders, but most likely he'll only be fighting for probably around 4th place as Cody Dorsey a little further on up ahead there. And Stallings, unfortunately, he was looking like probably one of the contenders here earlier in the race, but is kind of in traffic now in 6th place. Not really have a chance to win this one if we stay green the rest of this race.
It's still a long way to go though. We could see even more cautions come up late in this race. We saw that first caution come out after Kyle Klink spun on pit exit, so we could see someone make a big mistake off pit exit, try to push a little bit too much, and it could cause another caution. So we could see that after the pit stop cycles, but probably after the pit stop cycles, we probably will not see any more cautions. I think they're going to be pretty spread out by that point. But Klink holding the lead by a couple car lengths over Brendan Maddox. These two just trying to stay around the same gap. No one able to really get away. Evan Patenko just staying right there, but these top 3 able to stay within a half a second. Sometimes they fall back just a little bit, but they fight back on, fight closer, gain a few tenths. It's just kind of a few tenths gained here, a few tenths gained there for the other drivers. It's just these three have pulled away now by 3 seconds over Cody Dorsey. As now Dustin Stallings is really starting to come alive. It seems like Tyler Smith's starting to fall back a little bit to Dustin Stallings as Dustin Stallings runs the bottom. As these drivers now, the closest battle on the racetrack is now Dustin Stallings moves to the inside a little bit on Kyle Schmitz. You see him just out of frame there, down the back straightaway. It's the battle for the top 5 spot. Now the same as that first pack of 3. There's top 3 is 4th, 5th, and 6th in that same little pack. About 3 seconds back. But so far, Kyle Klink still holds the lead. Cody Dorsey leading the second pack here in a way. As Dustin Stallings closed the gap a little bit to the drivers in front of him. Here with Kyle Schmitz and Cody Dorsey. He's going to try and find his way back. Cody Dorsey on the off turn 4.
3 wide for a second. As here comes Stallings. Stallings
all the way to the bottom of big run, and that's the mistake he was hoping for, and that's going to get him some extra spots, and that's going to slot him back up to the top 4. So now Dustin Stallings, a lot of clean air. We'll see how well he can chase down the race leaders.
Yeah, and didn't really lose any time, really, it seems like, though, as well. So if these guys that fight up front and don't have a great pit stop, we can see Stallings maybe fight here late in this one.
Stallings holds that spot there in 4th. He's going to try and pull away from Kyle Schmitz, but he has bring that gap down for the race lead by about 0.3 of a second than what it was a few laps ago, about 0.2. So he is a little bit quicker right now. He's trying to close the gap down. Still got a long way to go left in this race. Still has a whole pit stop, so he could play that strategy as well. But Dustin Stallings, don't count him out yet. We'll see how it shakes out after the second pit stop, after this last pit stop. But Brendan Maddox starting to fall, lose touch to Kyle Klink now, but Evan Patinko trying to close the gap down, trying to find his way by that 11 of Brendan Maddox. The top 3 starting to spread out just a little bit. So far, Klink able to hold about a half a second gap. He's got about 11 more laps to hold on to the lead. He wants to lead coming out pit road. Klink holding the lead now as we're next time by will cross for 50 laps to go.
Now, who will be the first driver down pit lane once that fuel window is open, which will probably be with 42 to go at the earliest, maybe 40 to 42, I would say is probably the earliest the pit window will open.
Klink holds the race lead by about half a second. Starting to pull away. He's just about maybe get a 1/4 of a tenth to a tenth per, about half a tenth to a tenth per lap right now. So he's really starting to come alive here in this final chunk of this run compared to our the other drivers up in this lead pack. As really Brendan Maddox and Evan Patinko now really starting to fall off. He's now put a second in Evan Patinko. He's put over half a second over Brendan Maddox. So Kyle Klink really coming alive now, really pushing that pace now.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want later in the run to have that speed. And he's now starting to pull away from Max behind and Patinko. One of those drivers maybe do an undercut on Klink up ahead. Maybe do an overcut as well. I mean, there's some very good strategy, but you can't. There's not really a lot of strategy here since the fuel window is so tight. You really can't go that long, and you can't pit too short. So you're kind of just stuck within maybe a lap or two difference, possibly at most. Just based on when we went green and how many laps to go are left.
You know, see, just under, we're within 10 laps of those pit stops now. This Max still losing a little bit more time. Dustin Stallings, he's kind of doing the same. He's gaining a tenth here and there, but then losing a little bit. He's staying around 3.6, 3.7 seconds back now, so about 4 tenths closer than what he was. He's trying to close that gap in, but it's like he's starting to fall off a little bit now. But we'll see how these pit stops start to play out. This is going to be the money stop. You want to be perfect on entry, perfect on exit. You don't want to lose any time. You don't want to go too conservative, lose a little bit too much time. But if you go a little bit too aggressive, it's going to cost you. That's going to cost you a whole lot of time, and that's going to cost you your race if you go too aggressive on pit road and end up getting a penalty. Length that time by at 30.235 and a 30.139 for Mannix. So Mannix is fighting to stay within about a second. Mannix not really a great pit stop for that first pit stop he had. So we'll see where that, I mean, we didn't really get a chance to see where he'd cycle out compared to everybody else after that second stop. So he got a caution during the middle of those stops there, but we'll see how this stop plays out. If Mannix can get a good pit stop, he can maybe close that gap to Kyle Klink. Dustin Stallings has put the gap down to about 3.5 seconds. He's really closing that gap. He's starting to gain a lot of time. He's still gonna need a lot more though. He's gonna have to put a lot more time. You have to probably hope for him. He's gonna have to gain about a second on pit road. And then gain about 2.5 seconds on pace. He's gained about a half a second on pace now. If he can get another little bit before this pit stop, he could be in a good chance here. Also, he could maybe goes to undercut or overcut. But Kyle Klink still holds the lead as we see a few drivers down pit road. Zachary Maddox, I believe he's called it tonight. He's in pit road, been in pit road for about a minute and a half. But Scott Kerber down pit road, Derek Riley down pit road.
Pit window looks like it's kind of open for most drivers.
It should be open now. About 43 laps is probably the earliest you can pit. So about a lap or two ago. As Klink stays around 8 to 9 tenths ahead of Brendan Maddox. Dustin Stallings, he's really cut that gap down now. He's about at 3.3 seconds.
The slow car on the apron there.
Push. He's been pushing it down, but Kyle Klink still out in the race lead. Brendan Maddox still staying out in second there. Evan Patico, I think they're probably going to try and evenly split this here. But Dustin Stallings really closing the gap. The gap's down to about 3.2 seconds. Had to get by, he had to Ron Malam get by him there as the lap car, so he's going to have a little bit of dirty air. That could hurt him now. He's not going to have that clean air he wanted. But this time by will be 40 laps to go. Will these drivers pit? Or think maybe Brendan Maddox might be coming out pit road here. And
Looks
he
like
will.
he is.
Brendan Maddox down pit road. He's going to be on the early stop. Get that undercut. A good pit entry. Perfect pit entry there for Brendan Maddox.
Yep, just a good solid pit road entry there. We'll see what he can do. First driver row in the top 5 to pit. So, will anyone else react? Will Klink react? Will Stallings react as well? Patinko react? Schmidt as well. As yeah, Brendan Maddox down pit lane as well, coming down onto his right sides and left sides too.
Dustin Stallings and Kyle Klink really come down pit road together, but Dustin Stallings able to close that gap down on the pit road. Klink was a lot more conservative on pit entry there. That could cost him enough time. So Kyle Klink pretty conservative on pit entry. We'll see where he cycles out compared to Brendan Maddox. Evan Patico's coming down pit road now, as he's going very aggressive on pit road. He's going to lock it down just in time. Evan Patico, perfect pit entry there. It's Kyle Klink coming off pit road. Where will Brendan Maddox be? As Brendan Maddox coming off turn 4. Kyle Klink on the apron now. See where that cycles.
Oh, car spinning!
Brendan Maddox may be able to jump.
Dustin Stallings spinning! He spun out the pit road exit.
A big mistake there for Dustin.
Whoa,
But Kyle Klink spins down the back straightaway.
Let's get
Kyle
rid of the
Klink spins
yellow.
on pit exit, hard on the outside wall. He's gonna come down the racetrack. He's gonna keep it off the track. Almost clips Scott Kerber, but no caution.
Disaster for one of our two front, or both of our two front runners as well. But so Brendan Maddox in perfect position now to win this race possibly. As he got by Patinko right
He jumps
there.
in front. Yeah, he jumps in front of Patinko, but Patinko about a 2-lap tire advantage, so we'll see if Patinko can close down. But now Patinko going to be running second once we cycle.
Let's take a replay of both these guys' wrecks as both coming off a pit lane. And we saw earlier Klink made the same pretty much mistake that Stallings made right here, right there, same bump, and round he goes. So same thing Klink did, then Klink down the back straightaway. Just also I believe hit a bump as well. No, he actually went on the racetrack. He might have been in black flag anyway. But
Yeah, would have been a
like,
little close there, but that almost raised out of caution. Scott
man.
Kerber, evasive action.
as Klink's still
Able
in
to
pit
keep it
lane.
off, but
Not sure why Klink's still in pit lane. I think he must have all used his patch repair here tonight. So Brendan Maddox right now in the race lead by 3 seconds. And what a turn of events here late in this one. Wow. That really shook things up crazy.
Brendan Maddox perfect on pit road, and just a very tough pit exit here at Charlotte. Able to keep it together. Now he's got a 3-second gap. As long as he just keeps the tires under it, he should be okay. He's gonna hold on for another 35 more laps, but everyone now has pitted and they want to cycle back, so that'll put Cody Dorsey up to third. Dustin Stallings, he did lose a lot of it. He was able to keep it together, but didn't get any damage. But he's 10 seconds out of the race lead now. He's really not going to make that time back up unless Brendan Maddox and RM Patinko really make a big mistake. But really, his only chance now is only to get Cody Dorsey maybe for a top 3. But Brendan Maddox, our race leader, by about 2.5 seconds. So everything closing the gap down a little bit. He's at that 2-lap pressure tire, so we'll see how much he can close the gap in. Brendan Maddox holding out, holding strong for now here. 2.6 seconds over Evan Patinko.
Yeah, as now Dustin Stallings still has a chance to finish in the top 3 spot. Cody Dorsey further on up ahead, and Stallings has 2-lap pressure tires in him, so Stallings still, I mean, not as bad as Klink, obviously 5 laps down, just coming off the racetrack right now, and 13th. It'll be a tough night for him as he was looking to maybe possibly win this race here at Charlotte. And it really just did not turn out right coming from pit lane pretty much.
And Kyle Schmidt's trying to chase down Dustin Stallings for 4th. As Cody Dorsey and Dustin Stallings, they're now battling for that 3rd place spot. As Stallings on the bottom, he's going to clear Cody Dorsey. So Dustin Stallings, he's closing the gap in a little bit, but it's just not, he's not going to be able to make up 9 seconds. So right now, Evan Patinko now, he's down to 2.2 seconds, slowly closing that gap in. Dustin Stallings clears Cody Dorsey. This time by will be 30 laps to go here from Charlotte. So we end this final home stretch of this race. So Kyle Schmitz can close the gap down on Cody Dorsey. Going to try and work back to the inside. Trying to get by Cody Dorsey, as Dorsey was, I believe, pitted a little bit earlier compared to the rest of these drivers. Side by side now as Schmitz works the bottom of Cody Dorsey. Now off turn number 4, down the front straightaway. And a turn number 3, Schmitz works the bottom. He's gonna try and clear off a turn number 2, not gonna be able to do it. Dorsey still holds the outside lane, but maybe tags the wall just a little bit. They stay side by side for that 4th place position. Dorsey has the nose out in front going into turn number 3. Still side by side now. You should have close the battle on the racetrack, as it's really this top 3rd, 4th, and 5th, the closest drivers on the racetrack. Everyone else really far apart. But Kyle Schmitz able to clear Cody Dorsey there. As Cody Dorsey now falls back to 5th. Brendan Maddox pulled the gap back out for the race lead. Now just under 3 seconds of a lead now. So Maddox able to keep it together. Chases the 5, just about 26 more laps will be this time. 26 more laps this time by.
And right now,
Brendan Maddox. The Maddox a race leader by 2.8 seconds that time by. As they enter turn 3 and 4, wraps the bottom perfectly, just trying to take more lap times in. Now this time battle, we have 25 laps to go. While we have the moat, let's do it. Time for our Ellerin crank it up here from Charlotte. Go back here to Charlotte from our Crank It Up segment. As we have saw so far tonight on the back, it's really mainly on the deck lid of Cody Dorsey's car. Get the StubHub logo there. If you want to support the Undisputed Cup Series and use when you purchasing your tickets from StubHub, make sure to use the affiliate link in description to support the Undisputed Cup Series. for the future. And also, if you're anyone under certain I rating, I believe it's 3,000, not sure. But if you want to join the Undisputed Cup Series, make sure to contact them on their Facebook page. Also, I believe also in the description as well. And also, shout out to our other sponsors here in the KK Woodscapes, Burlington Cafe, Quantum, the main sponsor, Quantum Airings, our main sponsor of the Undisputed Cup Series. Make sure to check those guys out and give our support for the Undisputed Cup Series. But so far here, just under 20 laps to go. It is Brendan Maddox, our race leader, was our pole sitter. It's been an up and down night for him. Through the middle of the race, he had to work his way through a few of those incidents from those cautions. But right now, he has about a 1.7 second lead over Evan Patenko. Patenko slowly cutting that lead back down once again. So he was cutting it down earlier, but now, but it's kind of extended. Maddox was able to extend it back out. Patenko closing it back down now. Last time by, Patenko was about a 2/10 faster than the race leader of Brendan Maddox. So still got plenty of time left here with 16 to go this time by. Only about a 10th per lap to get to Brendan Maddox. We'll see if Patenko can keep that pace up. So he does have a 2-lap tire advantage.
Yeah, 2 laps tire advantage can still be a big difference in his next-gen cars. Last time I was about a 10th quicker. So if he can keep up this pace, he'll be there at the end.
Yeah, but also getting there was one thing. Passing is another. We see how tough it is to pass tonight. You have to try and navigate your way around the dirty air. Time by 15 laps to go. Patenko, last time by was a 1.3. We'll see this time by being closed down a little bit closer. That time by was 1.36, so it's just a tad bit slower. He'll be having those laps with Maddox. He's gonna have to fight his way by Dakota Bly at the lap car, as Bly will get out of the way there. Well, that could hurt Evan Patenko a little bit. That's gonna give him a little bit dirty air. It's not going to help him, but he is running that high lane, trying to get out of the lane, but cutting down into the corner. Very wide entry, very wide arc. Brendan Maddox that time by. He's been running fast, a 30.2 slower lap, but a little bit faster compared to our race leader, just a couple hundredths. See if it's going to close the gap in about a 1.3 seconds. Needs a 10th per lap. If he's not really getting a 10th here, he's going to have to gain a little bit more on some of these other laps, and I don't know if he's really going to have much more pace left in that car, as I think he's really starting to stall off now.
Yeah, this time by we'll see a little bit slower there, about a 10th slower than Maddox out in front. I think they're pretty much even tire-wise with 4 laps to go. It'll be tough to close down that gap. It's going to be a little bit more than a 10th lap he'll have to do here. They're really rocking himself up to a chance to have this race win.
So they have to do a lot of work right now, but those two now down to 1.3, so Patenko gained another 10th again. It's going to be about 2/10, a little bit more than a 10th, probably about a 10th and a half, about 10th and 3/4 per lap. Be a lot of work to catch that gap back. But Brendan Maddox still pulling away, just holding the gap. That's all he needs to do now with 10 to go. He's got enough of a gap. He just has to keep it clean. Don't make, just as long as he doesn't make any mistakes. It's been a long race tonight. Could be one of our longest races of the season. Stuyvesant will be coming 8 laps to go. He's kind of just, the gap still hovering just around a 1.3 seconds. And that's going to be enough. Not coming out close enough, as I think, just not coming out fast enough, as I think Patinko just maybe starting to hit that dirty air a little bit. His tire's really starting to fall off now. Just really can't close that gap in.
Yeah, right now.
Brendan Maddox. First start this season. Looks like he will probably take this one. As long as no other cautions, he can keep it out in front. It's been a good chance to win this one.
Yep. As he's coming off of turn 2 right now, 6.5 laps to go. And he's looking pretty smooth sailing as long as he doesn't make any major mistakes or he sees that yellow flag and is on those yellow lights on the racetrack. He's looking really good. Only 5 cars on the lead lap right now. So everyone looks pretty spread out from each other. The closest one is Dakota Bly and Derek Riley. 6th and 7th, they're about a second or so apart from each other. Ivan Patinko, Brendan Maddox about 1.5 seconds apart from each other. So right now, just pretty much everyone's in position to where they're probably going to finish. Most likely, if this stays green, the rest of these 5 laps come to 5 laps to go. I mean, right now, great drive for Brendan Maddox as he got pole position early on, fell back, had a few issues, but he's worked his way back up through the field. Now he's looking to try to win in his first ever start here in the Undisputed Cup Series.
Yeah, Brendan Maddox, he got caught up in that unfortunate caution during that pit cycle, and he was able to luckily get on the lead lap and get the wave around and be able to be at the tail end of the lead lap. He was able to do that, but then he had another incident. Then he had to fight his way back from that incident, from his way to the back, but he was able to work his way up and just put out the grind.
It's coming to 3 laps to go this time by.
He's just trying to get to that white flag, hoping for no cautions. He's just hoping it stays green. Brendan Maddox just trying to hold on a little bit more. The gap between Dakota Bly and Derek Riley is still about the same, so don't know if that gap will change, that position will change. This time by, Brendan Maddox will come to 2 laps to go, 3 miles left here from Charlotte. A mile and a half until he gets to use the white flag. Brendan Maddox just trying to get to the white flag. Doesn't want to see another caution. He already had 1 caution, really one unfortunate caution. Set him back tonight. He doesn't want another to happen. Off of turn number 4, Brendan Maddox will take the white flag. 1 lap to go. He's got enough of the gap over Evan Patinko. Brendan Maddox, for that second green flag pit cycle, had an unlucky caution, an unfortunate caution that almost tracked him a lap down. He was able to stay, but he was at the tail end of the lap. Got to the incident, had to go to the back as he took the blame for it. And he had a few other incidents that he had to work through, but he battled it out tonight. He put it on the pole earlier to start tonight, and it's going to look like on the results sheet that he led the whole thing. But off of turn number 4, Brendan Maddox going to pick up his win at the debut start here at Charlotte.
I believe at the line, Dakota Bly got Derek Riley by half a tenth there. For 6th, it looks like Time and Scoring says is wow. Look at this battle for 6th place. Right there, Derek Riley, last lap move. Got to the inside, side drafting to the line. Just not enough there for those 2 drivers. Or for Derek Riley.
just didn't have enough to get there. But Dakota Bly will hold on to 6th. A very solid result for both of those drivers. But Brendan Maddox able to qualify on pole. He had to work his way through the field, and now he's going to burn it down here at America's home for racing. Feel the drivers joining him in the celebration as well. Brendan Max burns it down here from Charlotte. We're going to take this quick break. We'll be right back for our top 3 interviews.
Hey guys, this is Kevin from KK Woodscapes, and we just wanted to say how excited we are to be sponsoring the Undisputed Cup Series this season for the championship trophy. And also, we are looking forward to working with you guys. Hopefully, we can bring your virtual victories into reality this season. And you can reach out to me on Discord, or you can scan the QR code below, and it'll take you to our Instagram page where you can see all the work we've done over the years. Thank you guys, and good luck this season.
Welcome back here to Charlotte. As you just saw Brendan Maddox take the win here at Charlotte in his debut start, his first start of the season. And he started from the pole tonight. He had to work his way after back from a few unfortunate cautions, but he was able to take the win. Before we get to our top 3 interviews, let's take a look at tonight's results for tonight's Undisputed Throwback 270 here from Charlotte. As well as Brendan Maddox on top as he took the race win over Evan Patinko, and Dustin Stallings rounds out P3. Kyle Schmitz in 4th. Our top 4 fastest, or pretty much our top 5, 4 of our top 5 fastest finishes all in the top 4. Cody Dorsey finishes 5th tonight. Dakota Bly in 6th. Derek Riley in 7th. Keith Long in 8th. Scott Kerber finishing 9th, and John Ganos rounding out our top 10. Cameron Kekin finishing 11th, and Kyle Klink, big pit road mistakes cost him and put him out of this one. He'll finish 12th tonight. Ron Malam will finish 13th. Zachary Maddox will finish 14th. Alex Bonser will finish 15th. Cody Pruitt 16th, and Jason Bowers under 17 car field here tonight. That in front, it was our race winner, was Brendan Maddox. He started on the pole tonight. Unfortunate though, through that second pit stop, you had to crawl your way back and work from that unfortunate caution. Just kind of talk us through how you're able to crawl your way back up through the field and get back up to the race lead after that moment.
Yeah, I don't really know exactly what happened. Well, I know I'm remembering what happened now. I got there was that caution caught me, I think, a lap down, right? So I got the wave around there, thankfully. So I wasn't ever really truly a lap down. And then coming out, I was trying to, I think, push a little bit harder than I needed to. And I think it was a 47 that I was around. And we made contact somehow, and that sent me around. And that, man, I'm not going to lie, I thought my race was done then. The set of tires that I just came out of pit with, I think I burned like 15% off of each one of them. So I was questioning, like, okay, I know I needed to get to like 110 or 120 to make the last 2 pit stops count and still leave a set for a green-white checkered if that were to happen. So I was just trying to strategize. How do I make it there? I don't know. So I thought it was over. And then, we got that caution, came down on 100, and that kind of set my trajectory to pit one more time around 140. It was fighting 31 and even Evan in the 81 pretty hard. But they had some, I think the 31 may spot coming out of pits on turn 2 down the apron, and something happened to him. And Evan, we were just talking, I think something may have happened to him as well that didn't let him get going as quick as he wanted to. And from that point on, it was just kind of, try to set sail and not, tear down the wall and break my car so much, which I did at one point. Hit the wall, broke my front right tire, or my front right, I guess, toe link, but it didn't affect it so bad. I lost maybe a tenth or two a lap of speed. But man, Evan kept me honest. I was eyeing the gap for 1.7 and went down to like 1.2, 1 point, and just climbed back up. And so we were bouncing back and forth. And Evan's a good driver. I raced with him in another league in Tuesday, and I just told him, like, you are a criminally underrated driver there, because he has so much more speed than he can show at times, and circumstance and stuff. And I think he's got a couple wins here, but like he was keeping me honest, man. So it was all I was doing was looking at that gap the last 40 laps and trying not to just destroy it. And thankfully was able to bring it home. So that's that. That was my race.
Yeah, you got that race win, and you're able to hold off Evan Patinko there. But just kind of talk us through. You had to work your way back up, like I mentioned earlier. But it's just how did that dirty air really affect you tonight as well? That another being a big factor. Brand new updates to these next gen cars. Everyone kind of learning the new tire model and the new aero models. Just kind of talk us through how does that dirty air track position really matter tonight?
So it mattered in so much as you can feel when someone's like aero blocking. Whenever the 31 and I, we kind of had a couple lap battle for the lead before that last pit stop. I think around like 120 or so we were fighting. That's where I felt the air the most, and I think that's just because I was trying to ride right behind him. In these cars, if you just offset like half a lane or something like that into the corner, whether it be up high or low, you can almost kind of counteract that dirty air. You're not going to have quite the grip that you would in clean air, but you can almost counteract it. And so that's what I was just trying to do, is eyeing where other people are going, and I was burning my tires on the front right all the time. So I was trying to also just approach the corner differently for me, and that kind of helped me, split half a lane off of somebody in either direction to kind of keep that good air on the car and work through the pack there to get up to behind the 31 and towards the front again. So there's a little bit of an art to it. You just got to make sure that you have a little bit of cleaner on the car. If you're running right behind someone, you're toast. And even, I would try to cross over with the 31 and 3 and 4, trying to make up time on him several times. Anytime I would cross his wake, it's like you just hit a wall of air. The car wants to go up, so I'm dragging the brakes and stuff, make sure I don't hit the wall in those moments. But you just got to offset a little bit and get some sort of air on the car, on the nose of the car, to help it turn.
Yeah, but you're able to master that dirty air tonight and get out in front with that great pit stop. And you're able to hold on to the lead for that final run there. But before we send off on the way, any sponsor thing for tonight's race win?
Obviously I want to thank Maddox Graphics is a company I run here. We do paint schemes and many other things, MaddoxGraphics.com. So I would just thank them for being on the car tonight. It's a good throwback car, I think. I just want to thank my teammates. We had Dustin and then my brother here as well. They are good guys to race with. And, in those moments when you're mired back in the pack, you hear that little small voice that says, hey, don't worry. Just keep your head on straight. Keep it under you. They're the ones in my ear doing that in that moment. So it definitely would not be possible without them. And then you might see there's another like green sponsor on my car called Castle. That's my dad's company. So he supports me in this as well. So shout out to them. And thank the admins also for letting me come in. Obviously, this is my first race here. So thank them for letting me race here and everything they do for this league.
And once again, congrats on your race win. We'll see you next week. Let me get the schedule really quickly. I had it up earlier. We'll see you next week at Iowa.
Hey, see you next week at Iowa. Thank you.
So Brendan Maddox, our race winner, will bring in our second place finisher here of Evan Patinko. Was able to hold on to second, try to chase down Max in that final bit of a run, but just wasn't able to do it. But just kind of lost a lot of time there off the pit exit, just off pit road. Just kind of talk us, how tough was pit road tonight? What do you think could have differently there on pit road? Maybe gain a little bit more time.
Yeah, well, actually it started on pit entrance. Called it out, let everyone know I was coming to pit road, and I don't know if the guy behind us didn't hear or if my comms weren't working, but I kind of got hitting the bumper there. Almost lost it, almost spun out there. Got it slowed down in time, had the pit stop, and I know I came out in front of Maddox about 2 seconds right at the line when I was exiting pit road. I just couldn't get it going down there. That pit road exit's pretty treacherous. I just lost too much time getting back up to speed, and that was really the end of it. I knew once he had a 3-second gap, I could cut into it, but I'd burn everything up. I had nothing to pass him with if I got there.
Yeah, and you mentioned pit road and getting on pit road, but you also mentioned we saw a lot of strategies. I mean, before we had that first caution, we saw some opportunities maybe of making a 3-stop race, but also a wide range for a 4-stop race with undercut and overcuts. Just kind of talk us through what was your game plan with the strategy, kind of with the tire wear. What was your game plan with the strategy tonight? Try and maybe go a little bit overcut, undercut, or just kind of split it right down the middle.
Yeah, so talked to my teammate Dakota. He did the math. He figured out, you can make it on 3, but you'd really have to save some fuel on every stint. I hadn't committed to a strategy after the first stint. I went 42 laps, I think it was. And then past that, when we got that, couple of yellows in a row there, it was just save fuel, top off, save fuel, top off. You weren't going to lose much track position, so it didn't really hurt, especially with some of the guys going laps down there in the opening, fuel run. Once we got, I don't remember if it was that last yellow or whatever, I topped off. I knew I could make it to 140, and that was my, that's all I needed. I just needed to get to 140. I could make it 41 laps on fuel. I'd be good to the end.
Yeah, and that was definitely a lot of fun strategy we saw play out tonight, but you're still able to pick up a very solid second place finish for you tonight. But before we turn off on the way, any sponsor for tonight's second place run?
No, I just hopefully we keep the momentum going. I'm not sure where we're at next week. I think it's Kansas, so usually run pretty good there. Hopefully we can finish one spot better.
Right, Iowa next week, so it's a brand new update. So we'll see how that plays out as well. So, but once again, congrats on your second place finish. We'll see you next week in Iowa.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks.
So Evan Patinko, our second place finisher, will bring in our third place finisher. Also with his debut start tonight, Dustin Stallings. A very solid third place run for you tonight. But just you kind of got mired back in that final run there. Just kind of talk us through that final run and how are you able to try and start to crawl that time back at the final bit of that first run there?
Yeah, that I know when I can't remember exactly what happened. But that last pit stop, once we went green after that last caution, I was just kind of saving a little bit of fuel. That way I would kind of make sure that I could make it to the end on one more stop. And I think I saved a little too much, but after kind of how the race kind of played out there at the end, I think I saved just enough. But I think I was a little too conservative after that caution and lost a lot of time. But as that run kept stretching out, getting ready to pit, I gained a bunch of time back, and then I gained quite a bit of time getting on the pit road to the 31. But getting off of pit road there, I just got on the throttle a little too much, crossing them bumps right at the exit of pit road, and just lost the car. But I was able to keep it off the wall. But from that point forward, and I was just kind of getting all I could out of it to try to close up that gap. And I don't even remember how far of a lead he had on me after I come out. But I had it for the 31 there, I didn't see exactly what happened. I know whenever I was coming around after that, my last stop, I seen him up against the inside wall after the last stop. I had really a bunch of fun with him racing, and Brendan and Evan and quite a few guys had a blast. But yeah, I just think that pit road mistake really hurt me. If it wasn't for that, I think I would have been right up there with Evan and Brendan. But pretty good drive for me to gain as much as I did on those guys. But I'm happy with a third place finish after that mistake. But that's about it.
You get a lot of time back in that final run. I believe you after that pit road mistake, you're about 10 seconds back. You ended the race about 6.8. So really good run for you there in that final run. But just kind of talk us through because you're up front battling a lot with the dirty air. But also just how was that tire tonight, and how did that affect really what lane you could run with the dirty air as well?
The dirty air is definitely a little more of a factor than it was before the update that we had last week or earlier this week. But dirty air is definitely a factor. You got to be a little more careful trying to be in somebody's wake, especially even just crossing behind them. Because there's a couple of times where I lost the nose and got in the fence a little bit. But once I kind of figured that out, I was kind of settling in and knowing what to do. And then the tires, I feel like they wear a little more. I feel like the tire wear is more consistent in a way. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's kind of weird. Honestly, I don't remember it as much before the update, but I feel like early on cold tires, kind of seemed like the car bottomed out a little bit. But after you run a few laps and get some heat in them, the car don't. I don't hear the car scrubbing the track as much. But I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. The grip is a little different, so you kind of you got to respect it to a point because it is easy to kind of burn them up. Easy. I feel like it's easier to burn them up than it has been before, and you can really tell a difference between the old tire model and now. So it's just kind of self-policing myself on just being patient and pacing myself and try not to just burn through them within the first 10 to 15 laps. But it's definitely different. It was kind of fun tonight, just learning as the runs go on. I think me and Brendan and I think Zachary Maddox, even Evan and a couple of these other guys, we run in another league together and got stages there. So it definitely fun running this type of racing, having long runs and strategies and stuff play out. But I had a blast tonight.
Yeah, you were able to still manage that tire good enough. You were able to pick up a very solid third place run. But before we start off anyway, any sponsor link for its nice third place run?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of give a shout out to this Facebook group called Girl Dad. They're just a group of girl dads that are there to kind of support each other and give advice and everything, and just helping each other out, being there for each other. Just solid, good group of guys there. Also, give a shout out to Maddox Graphics. They make my paint schemes and stuff, and it's Brendan and Zach Maddox that take care of those. They do a great job. Also, give a shout out to you guys doing the broadcast. Before tonight, I kind of went back and watched a couple of you guys' broadcasts, and y'all do really good with that. Kind of looking forward to going back and watching this race over. And shout out to all the admins here in this league and all these other drivers. I mean, as far as I could tell so far tonight, be my first race. I got a good group of guys and quite a bit of respect on the track, and that actually means a lot, and it goes a long way as well. Just super fun. Give a shout out to my wife and my daughters as well. Love them to death, and that's pretty much it. Also, shout out to Brendan for getting the win there. He drove his tail off to make that happen. I know Evan was keeping him honest there, and shout out to Evan for the P2. It's great to see him finish there. He well deserved for sure. But other than that, that's all I got.
And once again, congrats on your third place finish. We'll see you next week at Iowa.
Thank you, buddy.
So that was our third place finisher of Dustin Stallings, and able to finish a very solid third place in his debut start, just like Brendan Maddox was able to win his debut start here tonight. But it's definitely going to be fun going next week into Iowa with the brand new updates and a brand new Iowa update. So as well, so new pavement, new tire model, new air model. So I think it'll be a really fun race next week at Iowa. It'll definitely be fun, interesting race. A lot of unknowns going into next week.
Yeah, kind of just coming into this week as well. A lot of unknowns as well, with a new tire update, new next gen update as well, and with a pretty much brand new racetrack at Iowa, repaved to how it is in real life in turn 3, 4, 1, 2. It pretty much drives completely different, and we'll see which lane is actually the better lane, top, middle, bottom, and that'll be very interesting to see how that short track races.
Yeah, and we'll see how that works out next week at Iowa. But before we get there, coming up next year on the Legends Racing Network, on Sunday night, we'll have the Stampede Racing League Juice Federation Series at Dover at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. 9 o'clock Eastern Time for their quarter 2 finale. And on Monday night, we'll have the 5 Points Racing League Turkey Network Solution Chase Race number 3, 9 o'clock Eastern Time at Auto Club. And on Tuesday night, we'll have the Legends Racing League Gen 4 Series at Las Vegas, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And on Wednesday night, we'll have the Superstar Arc Cup at Michigan, 8:15 p.m. Eastern regular season finale. And next week, we'll have Iowa for the 8:50 p.m. Eastern Time at Undisputed Cup Series, and we are off tomorrow night for the Indoor Cup Series, but they will be back after Iowa next Friday night on June 27th at Le Mans for at 9 o'clock Eastern Time for the Indoor Cup Series. But it was definitely a fun one here tonight here from Charlotte. It was a long one, one of our longest races of the season. Brendan Max able to take the win for tonight's Undisputed Throwback to 70s. We'll see you next time here from on the Legends Racing Network. So long for Charlotte. We'll see you next time.